If the current conflict in Israel and Palestine has had any impact on my thinking, it has come in the form of answering a difficult question. Why does there always have to be an answer? War is horrific. It is always without a winner and always at the expense of the civilian. No government ever truly suffers the consequences of their decisions proportionate to the destruction of the average citizen. Lives are always lost because decisions are made by the masters of war behind desks. The saddest part of our current world is the need to make sure that everything that happens on a geopolitical level has an immediate answer. One choice must have a response, and it must always be unequivocal. There is no room for moderation, thought, or observation. Every action must have an immediate denouncement or blessing by the leaders of our world. But did anyone ask the people of Israel or Palestine if they wanted our answers? Does Russia or Ukraine owe allegiance to our way of thinking in the United States? Certainly there are political movements that require our addressing and thinking in relationship to our interests, but they do not always have to be immediate and dogmatic. The real fact of the matter, in most of the cases, is that the governments of the individual countries are not acting on behalf of their citizens, but instead upon the cancerous tentacles of the military-industrial complex that spread its disease-laden arms around the shores from which it was created, into every corner of the world we know. For every average life destroyed, a company's stock increases commensurately. This isn't a normal endeavor any longer. Wars are not started simply because of disputes or disagreements, or territory. They are results now of a money-hungry culture that knows the gravy is in the next funding round from Washington, all because of a manufactured threat to our interests. Take 2 steps back and a moment for analysis and decide if the interests of the global conflicts are really ours to decide. Certainly humanity is being harmed, destroyed, and killed in every instance, something so horrific that the impulse to do something is overwhelming. But from a patient and thoughtful place of thinking, we have to realize that the interests motivating the slaughter are the people's governments, not their internal conflicts. In every instance, the civilians are at the mercy of the powerful. Things are being done without their consent, or vote, or political mechanism for change. No war is ever consented upon by a legislature any longer. War is decided in the dark chasms of the unknown, then foisted upon the people without any chance to pull back from the brink. Media and culture and the organs of government grind out the narrative and convince the masses that their choices are best for themselves, even to their own detriment. This is not the way forward to a peaceful world. Humanity chooses peace when offered the opportunity, but the powerful know that peace is the enemy of perpetual position. Boots on the ground mean stability behind the desk, or the lectern, or the funding. Sadly, we have no say in changing this trajectory. Every time a war arises, we must choose sides, say the powerful. We have to decide what interests are in it for us, and why we must send billions overseas to people we have little connection to. It was once described to me that we fight little wars with money and arms so that we don't have to fight larger wars with our own children's arms. But the sad reality is that nothing about that statement is true. We send our children to die for a country that bears little resemblance to the one that rose up on liberty's forbearance. With each passing moment, the citizens of our own country wonder out loud, a little louder each time, are we the bad guys? What if our military-industrial complex is the one causing the issues that perpetuate the discord? And worse yet, what if that system is doing it for their own self-reward? I'm not willing to send my children across the ocean to a far-off land to die for the Ukrainian government, the Israeli government, and particularly not the United States government, who confiscates my earnings, my time, and my offspring, pretending to keep the peace through that theft. I'm not naive enough to think that conflict is unavoidable. I am wise enough to know that it does not need to be government-induced. Pay attention to what is being done to us. Every time that government picks a fight, there's always only 2 sides available for us to participate in. You have to hate Trump and love Biden. You are unvaccinated or vaccinated. You are for violent protests or you are a racist. You are for Ukraine or you stand with Russia. You are for Israel or you are for Palestine. No room is ever left for the question, what does this mean for me, for my children, for the United States? There has to be a third way, something that takes us out of our silos and asks us to look for the real enemy, the amalgamation of money, government, and corporations. I don't want my sons to die for a profit. I don't want your children to suffer for the next stock increase. I want the chance to say out loud that not all solutions are easy or tidy or even my business. We owe our fellow humans the decency to respect and protect one another, but it will not be from the fictitious tribes or the phony narratives. It will be from the hand of the oppressor, the governments who are not by or for the people any longer.